Welcome, fellow trolls and dice snobs, to a very special broadcast this evening from Old Times Tavern. We're here this evening to interview the Troll Lord himself, CEO of Troll Lord Games, Steve Chenault. If you don't know who he is, well, what rock have you been hiding under? But we're here to talk about the current Kickstarter and some other topics of opportunity. How you doing, Steve?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Enjoying, I'm enjoying as much as you can this terrible state of Arkansas that no one should move to under no circumstances. Pretty soon it's going to be wall to wall printing facilities, and then they're cutting all the trees down. No one's going to want to come here. It's just going to be awful. So
wasteland.
It's a wasteland. It is a wasteland. They will be making wasteland movies here, and that's it. And then there's like more Hollywood stuff. You definitely don't want to hear. But we're here to talk about the current crowdfunding campaign. I almost said Kickstarter, but I didn't. But I kind of did.
Yes.
That you guys have running, the Adventures Backpack Reforged edition, a revamping of this fantastic book.
The backpack.
So tell us a bit about.
We've started calling it the Backit campaign because you got just Kickstarter. We're going to kickstart this Kickstarter, but we've done two now over on BackerKit, and it doesn't. We're going to do a BackerKit campaign. It's too many words, so we've just started calling it the Backit campaign.
That works. That works. It's kind of funny. Kickstarter's almost become kind of a generic catch-all.
Yeah,
I've heard some industry or some IPs have had to watch that carefully, because if it becomes too generic, then can you still control that? And
right. So. No, and Kickstarter is interesting because it's the first of all of these. I think maybe GoFundMe came first, but GoFundMe is a little bit of a different animal. But Kickstarter has this. You're right. I mean, generic is the best term for it. It's just a very basic tool that hasn't evolved for many. It's very effective. We've done very well over there. It's been fantastic, but it hasn't really evolved with. It's still kind of the same, as it was 15 years ago or whatever.
And it also kind of feeds into our discussion we had before going live about technology, because there are some elements of Kickstarter as far as being on the customer side that's gotten worse. I know it's caused some issues for actually one of the people that's actually in chat right now, Crow. He's had problems with him taking his money, and he's mad, so he had to go to the publisher. It's like, Kickstarter is jerking me around because they won't take my payment for reasons that they can't explain. I want to back your Kickstarter, but can I just send you my money like carrier pigeon? Like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. It's like,
he says they banned him for payment. That's weird, Crow. I don't know, and I got to say that how to word this diplomatically, the number of methods that we can move money around the internet is ridiculous, and trying to keep up with what's his latest name? I keep getting messages from our Chase. We got a Chase credit card here at TLG. It's Zaza or Zabu or Zamanama. I don't know. It's some kind of cash transfer thing. And I'm like, I don't know what all of this is, and I'm not sure why we need it all.
Right. It's just layer upon layer of technology that we may or may not need.
Yes. I think we're, you and I were talking about this earlier. I think this is the point of diminishing returns. We may be getting close.
Yeah, we might just be getting there. And what's amazing is now the systems are so integrated. If one thing breaks, everything is cooked.
I will say this: at least once a day, someone here at Troll Lord Games, and I think it's 7 full-time, and then 2 or 3 part, and then a whole bunch of contract people. At least one person has major technical issues that require, too much time to fix. It's really bizarre. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Now, see, that's why I love Troll Lord Games, because you guys are still pretty analog, and you're down the road. So if I really have an issue, I get in my car, I can drive down and bang and drum. Like, I have a problem with this book. There is a typo on page 53. What are you going to do to fix it?
And soon you'll be able to just drive up and go to Dakota's the warehouse. Dakota will be there, and you knock on the door. Say, "Hey man,
on the wall like Snoopy, like in
my
Peanuts.
book was
Like,
damaged."
open the door.
He'll go to the shelves, get your own book.
I'll leave for Dr. Pepper. That's the price of admission to.
Right. We'll have a refrigerator next to the door. If you're going to come in, you got to leave a Dr. Pepper. Then you come on in.
You know, if you guys do have a groundbreaking ceremony, I will bring you at least a 12-pack. Maybe I'll be really throw some money around and get a cube.
There you go. Now you're talking. Yeah, we are going to definitely do that. We're going to wait. They're going to have to. It's so, and we've been waiting for the bank and the permitting office and whoever to do whatever so long. They have to bush hog it now. It's like,
Well, I mean, it's kind of good it's taking this long because the last month and a half has just been constant rain. Now it might come back and be constant rain again, and we might all be up to our eyeballs. So I mean, it's Arkansas, you never know. It might be dry as a bone or a monsoon season.
Yeah, it's been a monsoon for you, as you know, and you've gotten it worse. Anything above the river has gotten it worse than us.
Oh yeah,
below the river. But we've been on a pretty aggressive shipping schedule, and today was sending out a very, very large pallet of books to the United Kingdom, and it was supposed Dakota and I'm going to start it right when he clocks in at 8:30 in the morning, and that whatever torrential downpour hit us at about 6:30 or something. I remember waking up. It woke me up. We were getting hail. And I turned to Kat and said, my wife, Kathy, and I said, well, I just put an end to the shipping for the day.
Okay, so what you're saying is we need to crowdfund a box van, like maybe decommissioned UPS truck or something, just for moving.
Now you're talking.
Boxes to the post office.
We so bad need something like that. What we'd really love to get is to get a big one, so we like all the convention crap. We can hang it on the side of the box van, and we're done. We don't have to. We don't have to carry it anywhere once we're done with the convention and all
that. We actually have a question that I'm going to get to right now before I forget. So with the war dogs being in the campaign, my dogs want to know, will the dogs in game survive actually going on an adventure? Because, animal companions in my game.
It's tough.
It's tough. I mean, now, a few weeks ago, we were doing the Secrets of the Undercity, fighting through the Temple of Highport and classic TSR module. And our ranger, he had picked up a badger companion in a few sessions earlier. And the badger tried to defend its master, and a skeleton just like one-shot him.
Yeah,
he killed my badger. I'm like, I didn't. The dice did. I'm sorry. Like, get the necromancer to resurrect him. At least there'll be a skeleton badger. So
I think that the motto should be all animals get behind the party.
pretty much. So what's going to be some of the new content in that we can expect from this?
So the Adventures Backpack, we've shaken it up a little bit. It's actually one of my favorite books that we've put out because of the equipment section. I know the class section gets the most attention by any stretch because it's got 14 new classes in it. They're not new now, but now they're going to be up. The first thing we're doing is updating the class material. Previously, it only took you to 13th level. Now it's going to take you to 24th level. So that's a major update. The equipment section, which is kind of the heart of the book, which is the equipment table from the player's handbook with a whole bunch more stuff. Plus, and this is my favorite part, is the backpacks. I absolutely love the backpacks. There's 34 backpacks in there. Those we're kind of leaving as is. Now, I think that we've added quite a few toolkits to it. Like we'll have the Thieves Toolkit, stuff like that. So we'll have a few more pages of just equipment content. And I'm huge as a CK, a DM. I'm a huge fan of equipment. I like characters to be equipped. I like to track equipment. I like to destroy equipment. And I destroy equipment, especially weapons and shields and helmets are constantly getting destroyed. It's a good way to soak up treasure, right? If you destroy armor every 2 or 3 sessions, you go buy new armor. It's wonderful.
The more gold sinks we can have as CKs, the better.
Yes, absolutely. Because there's so much gold sometimes.
But
the real big change. We did a book written by Mark Sandy called Expanding Classes. Now, what he did in Expanding Classes, he wrote the rules for multi-classing, class and a half, and the dual classing. And he went ahead and expanded these classes out to show you all of the variations that you can have. Now,
Mhm.
when the original Adventurers backpack came out, that was about a 30-page book, I think. When the original backpack came out, I asked him to go take all of those classes and put those into expanding classes. So he really kind of accordioned it out. I think it's about a 50-page, 55-page book now. Once it included all that content. So we're going to take that content and we're going to put it in the Adventurers backpack. So you've got all of that material at your fingertips if you're inclined to do multi-classing, dual classing, a class and a half. And then it'll have just random stuff like war dogs, like Crow was mentioning. War dogs will be in there, bandages will be in there, some planescape stuff will be in there. But everything that is in the Adventurers backpack is player centric. It's not CK centric. It's really for the player.
It's to make our jobs more difficult. No, it's actually the opposite. Touching on the backpack section, that might be the most absolute useful asset of any CNC book, because it's like you don't have to spend time figuring out all that crap. Or if a character loses their backpack because it gets fireballed or whatever, like, go to town, buy you another one. Here, here it is. It's like you don't spend 30 minutes, shuffling through equipment lists. It's fantastic. And you would think you couldn't generate characters in CNC any faster, but with the backpacks, yes, you can.
Yeah, that's
it's like
and that's what we always talk in Castles and States how fast it is to make characters, but like and you're hinting at equipping a character can be a wall, because suddenly I got 87 gold pieces. Now I got to be careful. Now you're budgeting all of a sudden. But with the backpacks do, because there's 34 or 33, I can't remember now, but there's like a Dungeoneer's backpack, Overland backpack, Overland expert, Dungeon expert, and then there's a host of others, fighter backpack, thief back, all that stuff. I'm like you. I really like that section, and I don't like to equip characters that much. I don't get that much fun out of it. Todd Gray, a friend of mine, he won't use the backpacks at all because he loves to equip.
He likes to be.
He loves to sit there and do all of that stuff. Write it
An hour later.
Yeah.
Can we play the game? Come on.
We gamed a couple of weeks ago, and I was done in 2 minutes, 3 minutes to make the character. And then I came up with a description, and the name was kind of tough, but I just grabbed a backpack. Here's my equipment. I was done probably in 10 minutes. Todd, good 25 minutes.
That sounds about right. We have another question from Crow. He asks, as a professional Kung Fu homeboy, what do the new unarmed rules look like? Do we have new unarmed rules?
So what we did, probably the only part in Castles and Crusades, there's two parts that I don't love that much. One is the encumbrance rules. I think the encumbrance rules are a little bit difficult to kind of put together. That's why when you read the encumbrance section in the player's handbook, I wrote the two introductory paragraphs. One is just, this is what encumbrance is, and then the second one is the best way to do encumbrance is
don't use this.
Don't use it and picture it in your head.
Just eyeball it.
If the guy describes that his character's got all this stuff, then you're encumbered or you're not encumbered.
Yeah.
But the other one is the unarmed combat rules. They also are a little bit clunky.
I can't disagree there.
Yeah, it's tough to you got to look at it, you got to figure out the armor class is all crazy. So I asked Davis when we did the Adventurers backpack to design us a very simple, and he actually went back to the original notes that he and Mac had put together for Castles and Crusades, and those are in the Adventurers backpack. And it's pretty much you swing at someone, and if you hit their armor class, you hit them, and you do 1 point of damage plus your strength, move on. So it's really it's very, very simplified, which for my tastes is always a good thing. If you want a little bit more complexity to your game, take Castles and Crusades and then build your own kind of your Kung Fu rules on it, right? This is what there's a lot of people. I don't know anything about martial arts. I've never taken. I took judo back in like the 7th grade, in like 1979 or something. So I got some vague memory of flipping a guy. Beyond that, I don't know. So I guarantee there's people out there with tons of experience on Kung Fu or karate or whatever that could really do their table justice by, okay, here's my core, now go.
And slight side tangent. That's the beauty of CNC. It's modular. You can make it as crunchy as you want or as high speed as you want. It's amazing how I've been able to like do mass combat just by stripping it down. And I've actually, we had a big battle at the Moat House that the players had bought off a bunch of goblins with cheese and promise of gold, and turned them against the the evildoers in the moat house, and then they attacked it. And this was a huge battle. There were like 20 or 30 NPCs each side, while the party, went in the back door essentially. And I'm having like abstract a lot of this, but it worked. And we had this huge battle that was going on kind of on the side, and yeah, it's just amazing. You just
it's very simple.
use what you need and drop what you don't. And mix and match.
Yeah, you've seen it. I run that table at GaryCon. It's got 24, 25 people.
Yeah, that just still just blows my mind. I feel overwhelmed with the 10. I currently have 9 people at my table, and I said I would never have more than 5. I'm like, how did I end up here?
Yeah, let me tell you, 9 people weekly, that would get tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already questioning my poor life choices. Yeah, but, like we're here, But let's see. We have a question from Droopyface 1804. Is there an estimated shipping date for print versions of Adventurer's Backpack?
Yeah, so the plan is, and we're on target for this, and I'm trying to get pretty aggressive about this with the whole crew. I want it to go to the printers when everyone's charges come through, which should be around the 15th of July.
Yeah.
I want that day it to go to the printers. And it takes 3 to 4 weeks at the printers, and then so I'm really looking at mid-August as a ship date. And
that's pretty quick.
And it's one of the reasons we haven't kind of gone overboard throwing a whole bunch of stretch rewards in there. Because the more stretch rewards we put in there, it slows everything down because that's got to be created.
I can every time I see a new set of stretch rewards for new rules stuff, I can hear in my mind Jeremy screaming.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be the last person screening that stuff.
It's like, oh, why do we really need this? By the way, I think he's now the youngest old man at TLG. I thought I was bad, but damn, I met him like,
yeah, he's so grumpy. It's funny because he's like, for my desk, he's my right hand man, right? Anything that comes across my desk that I can't get done or that I don't know what this is or whatever, Jeremy, this is blah 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 blah. Because he knows he's very meticulous and he reads the stuff.
He really is.
He is, but it's funny talking to him because I'm pretty optimistic and I pretty much enjoy He's not at all. He's like.
I think actually Jeremy is like one of the main reasons I miss doing the Saturday game Chuck had the Saturday morning, because Jeremy, especially when he's just woke up and he's just Jeremy, it's entertaining. It makes me laugh, and I like him as a person, and he's
wonderful.
His ability to mesh for these rules and stuff, and the work he did on the MMT was just
it was amazing.
Mind blowing.
And he's doing amazing work right now in Exaltum and other stuff, and he catches things that I don't see, which is great. I will say this though, and this is the running joke around here, and it's just really funny. So Grace, who's our social media manager, she is eternally optimistic. She's so happy.
Life hasn't ruined her yet.
Yeah, exactly. She's just, just great. Anytime you see, if I say something to Grace, hey, Grace, is this a good idea? That's a great idea. Let's do this, and this. I'll go, okay, you feel great. And then, but if you say, hey, Jeremy, what do you think of this? Jeremy's like, oh, it's going to destroy the company. Wrong. I'm going to die.
It's going to be a giant rock from outer space. It's going to wipe out our Earth and destroy the company because it's going to fall directly on us if we do this. We cannot.
If I talk to those two in the space of like 30 minutes, my brain is like, I don't know what's happening.
It's like having an optimistic and pessimistic angel.
Yes,
devil on each shoulder. Crow One has said, "I am willing to come down to the new warehouse and demonstrate kung fu," and Sparky has volunteered.
Great,
he's gonna come beat me up. Great, I love it.
Don't do it until we get the live streaming.
yeah. People are like, that could be like a Patreon thing, and like if you remember the Patreon, you can watch this live. It's like a pay-per-view fight.
Beat up Sparky.
You see Sparky throw it into a mountain of Troll Lord games boxes. Actually, talking about Patreon, I saw in the email the other day that there's supposed to be a big announcement about Patreon.
So what we did, and I'm not sure where this landed because it went out. What is today? Wednesday? It went out yesterday.
Yes,
so we have added a play-by poll So I wrote this very short, I think it's about 350 words, maybe 400 words intro.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a character in a dungeon, and I describe what's going on, and you have 3 choices that you can make. And we sent that out to Patreon backers. And everyone who's inclined can say, I want to go left, I want to go right, or whatever the questions were. And whichever option gets chosen the most, that's what happens.
Okay.
And then next week I'll write the next section.
Part. Oh,
Yes,
cool.
it'll be kind of a play by pick a path. I think we'll call pick a path in today.
Yeah. I think you guys have some of those pick a path adventures sitting on your shelf somewhere. I've heard rumors of things in the in the vault.
We've got one written by Jim Ward somewhere.
Yeah. A friend of mine worked with him, and and then Jim knew the guy he was working with knew me, and then I had some contact. He's like, get that guy, that jerk that killed me in that one game, get him to ask it if that's ever coming out. I'm like, I don't know. I'll ask, but I don't know what they'll say. Like, let's see. And Crow continues. He says you can package the live event like this. See what it looks like when a dwarf throws a human. That's true. It's very short. I know this for a fact.
There you go.
But so is there anything else you want to touch on as far as the Kickstarter goes?
No, if you are not familiar with it, go over and check it out. I'm very happy with this. The Adventures Backpack has been a long-standing part of the publishing, the CNC publishing, and getting it brought up to speed so that it looks, the trade dress is the same and it looks the same and it has this new content. Is just fantastic. And I think we're down to 2 boxes maybe of the Adventures Backpack in stock now, so it'll be out of stock soon. It's one of the things it's been troubling this year, and this is a fantastic problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had 4 or 5 titles sell out, and we've got
to say.
Yeah, it's been a lot. So we got to get those back into print, and the Adventures Backpack was my biggest worry because it is such a piece of the schedule that of the stable there. That having it out of print's a horrible idea. So go over, check it out, read it. It really, the backpacks, classes, the multi-classing, all of it is just on a good content.
Well, Crow wants a distinction, the difference between Ruin and regular Magic.
So what we're going to do, Chuck has been lobbying something ferocious for that Rune Magic to get its own book, and this Kickstarter has made that happen. Initially, what we were going to do, one of the offerings was a small spell book that just had the rune spells in it. And just for those people out there, you got Arcane Magic, Divine Magic, and I created a system called Rune Magic for a rune mark, and it's specifically designed because of the world of Erd. You don't have to play in the world of Erd to use it, but that's kind of where its genesis is. But one of the stretch rewards early on, I think the $30,000 stretch reward was to take that spell book, which was going to be all 200 rune spells, and put it into the Rune Magic book, Rune Lore book. And this book will have a much more in-depth discussion of what Rune Magic is, how it's different from other stuff, all of the spells, the history of it. Some guilds go in there. It'll have quite a bit of content in it. So, Crow, we're definitely going to do that just to kind of give it its own, footprint.
And the Rune Magic definitely deserves a lot more attention because it is unique and interesting. Because I was actually looking through the Adventurer spell book, which I think it has all of the rune spells. I think at least most of them.
Yeah.
And I was looking through there, and I will agree with some who say that you need a very specific CK who knows how to run that and adjudicate it, and a player who is kind of in sync with the CK.
Yeah,
but it could be really cool though. Some of the stuff you could do with it.
That's the thing about the rune spells, and this was a design choice on my part. And it came from the design is when you're running Rune Magic, the rune spells, they're defined very loosely. What does this spell do? Something like this is what it does. And I did that specifically because, and your point is very valid. Davis and Chris, Davis, my brother, and Chris Harrison, who were at my table for years and years and years. Both of them, Davis was a cleric mostly, and Chris was a wizard in the game that we ran for so long. And both of them got Davis got so bored with the cleric spells because he had cast them so much. He just started changing them, not his spell.
As Davis does.
As Davis does. So the spell would just be different than it's written in the book. But he never overdid it, right? He never made it do 10 times more than it did originally. He usually made it weaker.
Reasonable.
He was very reasonable, making it weaker than he usually did. My favorite story of Davis is we'd been playing for easily a year, and he never hit anything. His damage was horrible if he did hit. And I remember saying to him, I said, dude, what is with your dice? And then I looked over and he doesn't have any dice because I'm not rolling dice. I said, what are you doing for numbers? He goes, I'm just making them up. And I said, he goes, the first number that pops in his head. I'm like, well, surely some should be like 19 occasionally. You hit something. So he's very reasonable, and Chris is too. Chris was the magic user, and he wasn't like, I'm changing this spell because I'm bored. He didn't want to read it. He got tired of reading what it does, so he would just make shit up, right? So the spells were just changing constantly. He could cast the same spell in the same session. It would do different things. And I thought, this is crazy, but it's fine, whatever. And that kind of inspired me to think, you know what? Players are crazy creative people, right? They're very creative. So why not give them that opportunity? And that's what the rune spells are. They allow you to be as creative as you want. Now, the CK on their end, Sparky, you might be playing a rune mark, and I'm the CK, and you go, okay, this is what I want my spell to do, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it doesn't quite do that. Nice, maybe.
Your character hopes it will do this, but actually, it's not going to be a fireball the size of a mountain. It's more like a firecracker. Good luck.
Yeah, so you can say that it's there, but what is not that is not adequately explained in the Adventurer's Backpack or the Adventurer's Spellbook, and that will be fixed this time around.
It's really a kind of magic that goes well with the style of CNC, and that is still the biggest thing I see people struggle with. And this is especially true after the OGL kerfuffle. I saw so many people coming in from 5e, and there's like, the rules are vague. This paragraph says, I need clarity. No, that's you have the authority, you have the agency to adjudicate it as you wish. Like, I don't understand having as much freedom. I'm like, well,
it's interesting. So when I tell people about Castles and Crusades, the first couple, if you're coming over from 5th edition or any edition of D&D, really, except maybe AD&D, if you're coming over from Pathfinder, whatever, which are all great games, but Castles and Crusades is a slightly different animal. You're going to come in the first couple of games, you're going to be disoriented because it is not, everything's not laid out for you. And one of the inspirations, and I say this all the time, and I'm sure, Sparky, you lived through this, and I know a lot of your listeners did too. Back in the 70s, I started in 1975. There was nobody to talk to at all. We had the books, the little brown books. Davis was reading them, trying to figure out what the hell this stuff meant, and just making stuff up. And then after like a month or 6 months or a year, and we were all doing it organically all over the place. Wherever D&D was being played, people were going, oh, and adding shit to it and filling things out. So everyone became a nascent game designer, back in the...
I don't understand this, so I'm just going to do it. I'm going to wing it. My gut. It's...
Yep. I don't like this. I'm not going to let... This doesn't make any sense. And that was... I
think coverage rules.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the inspirations behind Castles and Crusades. When Mac came to me and said, I went to Mac and said, Mac Golden, who had designed CNC with Davis, I said, Mac, I need a role-playing game. And he said, well, what kind of role-playing game do you want? And I said, I need something that's like Advanced Dungeons & Dragons the way I play it. Because I got to sell this game. I got to tell people about this game. I have to be excited about it. And I've got a whole book it's about yay thick of just rules for AD&D that I wrote over years. Mm-hmm. We added this, whatever.
Or if you're like Jay Scott, he has a whole shelf of binders this thick, like 20 of them.
Exactly.
Like, holy shit.
Because that's what we all did. And I know that people who play games today, they are every bit as creative and smart as we were back in the 70s. So they can do it as well. The big leap is teaching them, I think that's not the right word, but showing them that you can do this on your own. And generally speaking, if you are new to CNC, you play it 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, you're going to find that this game is crazy open and you can do anything. And then you start getting real comfortable with it. And then you start doing crazy shit.
Yeah, it's people who've... I feel sorry for the people who just don't get it. because
Yeah.
you don't really know what you're missing out. We do have one more question. Is the multi/dual classing in the book mirror the main rules, or will there be tweaks unique to the backpack book?
They will mirror the main rules. They're just kind of expanded upon with quite a bit of just information for you. I can't really even remember. I don't have it in front of me. But like he gave you, so in the class and a half, I think you have a dominant class, and then you can take abilities from another class. So he takes, if you wanted to play a fighter or magic user, and then he shows you what those abilities would play out like, and he lists it for you. So it's a pretty detailed. It's pretty detailed. It's good.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's talk real quick about a comment. Yeah, we do have one player who can't seem to figure out his dice, and like, do I roll? What do I like?
Yeah.
Oh, like, do I need to get on a plane? And we play online because
Yeah.
I live in the sticks. I don't know anybody else who. I mean, my God. I mean, when I moved up here, they were having protests against the Harry Potter releases. So when I found out there's actually a game store in Batesville, I was shocked.
Is there still a game store there?
There's one. It opened up. It had been opened like 3 or 4 years before I even realized it was there. I drove past it like every time I went to Batesville. But yeah, I went in there once, and it's mostly board games and card games. But it's there, and they have some 5e and 40K stuff. But I'm like, they need more product.
Batesville is one of my favorite parts of this state. That country around is beautiful.
Well, I hate to tell you, they're about to ruin Batesville with a traffic circle.
The roundabout.
It's a fine local discussion, but
let me tell you, if you go to Conway, Arkansas, someone got very, very drunk and they flew across the town and just started throwing roundabouts.
Oh, I've been there. I'm like, where the hell does crap come from? Why? Is there like a traffic circle lobby being paid? It's like a B-52 strike. There's like boom, 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 boom. And there's everywhere.
They're all over the place.
And you sit there and watch people just go around and around and around. And like, you can't get off of it eventually. I mean, I don't know. City planners are a strange breed, especially here in the state. And again, another reason, don't move here. There's traffic.
It's crazy.
Let's talk about a product that was released last week, and I saw that there was a blurb in the newsletter. I don't know if you talked about. I did not watch yesterday's stream. I've not went back and watched it. It's been a crazy week, but I want to talk about the Codex of Arid expansion, the Saline Watershed. I think.
Yes, the Saline Watershed.
The Saline Watershed.
So this is another in a series of books that I've been writing and taking way too long to write. I'm fixing to.
Yeah, I know, Steve. I'm like trying to throw money at you, and like these things are taking forever. You have nothing better to do. It's like you have to run a company or something. God.
Yeah, what's that about? Whoever would have thought it would have been more work than this? It's just nuts. So basically, the Lands of Ursula and the World of Arid is this map that you see on the wall behind me. And I'm taking sections of that map and detailing them down into the politics and the people and kind of zeroing in on all the terrain features so that you have 2 or 3 sentences of what this terrain feature is and why it's here and if it has any interest. Trying to put tons of adventure hooks in there. I think this is the 8th one of these, and there'll probably be about 15 by the time I'm done, give or take. And this one takes the section on the map you can see here. It's almost all of that section is covered in this book. And each of those entries, the cities are given about 5 paragraphs, maybe about a column of content. And it gives you the names of the gates that are on the cities, the type of government in the cities, the guards, and then it gives you a couple of taverns and then a basic background in the layout of the town. So that if you're adventuring in the world of Arid and you come to this city, okay, this is what is here. So you don't have to come up with that stuff really, really quick. And the rest is, of course, like much of CNC, we try to go not too great on the details so that you guys can do whatever you want, with the content once you have it running. But this was released last week. It was last week's new release, and it's doing pretty good. We shipped a bunch of them today.
Yeah, I think mine's shipping out today. Because I had the PDF and I've only skimmed it because I like to get the physical copy and sit back and drink a Dr. Pepper and it's easier for me to actually digest books in my hand than the PDF. The PDF for me are good for reference, or I have free monitors here, so if I'm like working on game notes or stuff like that. But these are probably one of my favorite products from Troller Games, because it's not a lot of detail, but what little detail it says a lot. It paints a interesting picture for the regions, and I can read through it. I'm like, oh, that gives me an idea for this. I can do this, and I used the one when we finished the T1, we went for the moat house, and like, yeah, we're not going to go do the temple of elemental evil for various reasons, because it's a good module, but it needs a lot of work and massage, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to go that crazy having to figure all that out. So like, we're going to do the Slavers module. Yeah. But the problem is those modules are supposed to pick up after you've done the Temple of Elemental Evil. So I had to pack in some stuff in between. And the party part of it was about like, oh, they heard about the lands of New Aonok and the Crusades. And like, yeah, let's go there for, fortune and glory. And their ship was damaged in a storm. So they didn't make it to Ascalon, and they made it to like I think it was Barkaya, and just that little bourbon there was enough to give me ideas for all this other stuff. We just built and built and built from that. And it's funny, somebody was playing in my game, and it's like, I'm really surprised you don't just have your own setting. And because and I kind of felt like he was like, you're not a real DM until you create your own setting. I'm like, I could, but I don't have the because if I do, it's going to be like crack. I'm going to go overboard with it. But that's what I like about Arid. It's a framework that I can modify and fill in, because I don't have time to invent all the deities and 10,000 years of history. But this is enough. I can build my Arid is different from other people's Arid, and there's some stuff I've probably put it. You'd go like, what the hell's he doing?
The funniest I've seen, we had some folks running. Can't remember her name now. She was running a game about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name, but yeah, I remember.
She had 3 players on there, and one of them was playing an Eldritch Goblin, which in the world of Arid, Eldritch Goblins are very special creatures. They're very, very special creatures. They're dwarves, basically, who are corrupted by Orindul and turned into these semi-magical, immortal creatures that move about. And she was playing it in the most whimsical, hilarious. And I remember watching it going, and I didn't, at no point was I, upset or anything. I thought, there's no universe at my table in which an Eldritch Goblin would be like that.
Yeah.
But that's really cool that she took that and said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And I love the Eldritch Goblins and the lore it goes with them. And yeah, I've had ideas for them that may or may not, line into what would happen at your game. But that's the beauty of all of it. And it's just, you can keep building on it. And, another 10 years, who knows what my Arid might look like.
Yeah. And that's the whole, when I started, so we started in 75, and I can't remember, Davis at some point bought the Greyhawk folio. So it's going to be like 80 or 79. I don't know. He didn't care for it. Interesting. He read it. It's interesting, whatever. Yeah. He did that with all kinds of gaming stuff. But I absolutely fell in love with Greyhawk. And I played in Greyhawk for up until early 2000s when I started playing, when I really shifted everything into Arid. Because we would do new games in Arid, but Todd wouldn't. The older games had to be played in Greyhawk. So we kept playing Greyhawk forever and a day. It's probably mid 90s, I think, is when I quit, when I shifted over. But Greyhawk was the reason I loved it so much. It was that, and that's kind of the inspiration that went into Arid. There was so much in those little paragraphs to give me, fodder that I can say, I can do all of this. I don't need anything else.
It's actually funny. So, I've been running CNC now for about 4.5 years, just about. We started out when we were still streaming on a regular basis. The first game we did was we did Amazing Adventures. We used the adventure that was actually in the old player's handbook. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, because I haven't had a reason to deep dive on them, because we haven't need to play AA in a while. But we ran that, and then I really wanted to do a Greyhawk campaign, and I just those basic notes. I had this idea for campaign stuff I wanted to do with it, and all this, and then we ran the first time we ran CNC, like we're just going to do like a demo game, like we're going to do A0 just to see how the system works in a fantasy setting, and then then we'll roll into the Greyhawk thing. And before we got done with that game, I just got a really bad feeling. Like, if I'm streaming and I don't trust certain wizards of a coastal region not to do weird stuff. And I think it's also about the time, like, hey, Steve, do you think Watsy could ever try to claw back to OGL? And he's like, oh, that's good. You're crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was the crazy homeless guy on the sign on like a street corner in Memphis, man, with the conspiracy theories. I'm like, he was right.
Turned out you were right.
And I was like, well, we're having fun in Arid. I love Greyhawk, but I consider Arid Greyhawk adjacent, because I mean it is. It truly is. And I still use so much of borrow things from Greyhawk for my Arid games. But yeah,
Greyhawk had this. Part of it was its timing, of course, because it was new. There was nothing like that anywhere, for sale at all. But really, I think it's the two elements that Greyhawk had was Darlene's map was just somehow ridiculously evocative. It fired your imagination, and I don't know why. Her careful choice of font and the colors, all of it just really, when I looked at that Greyhawk map, it just fired me up. I just wanted to game. And then its simplicity, its absolute simplicity and execution. And that's a huge amount of influence from Greyhawk spilled into Arid. There's absolutely
no doubt. Yeah, I like I said, I've sung my praise for Arid for quite a few years now, and I love the fact that there's still things that are not commonly known. I like the fact that there's still little secrets, little things that you're like, oh, by the way, did you know in the world of Arid, blah 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 blah. Well, I didn't. I might know it now. I might need to go, read the books a little more and think about it, and. I always love when new Arid products come out, and I'm very happy that Jay's going to be dropping his Altamira.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I am so excited about that. And
I think I know they're still working on it. He got a little delayed because of health issues, but hopefully we see something very, very soon. I know that he's going to he's already sent it in what is it, Guilds and Orders, is a book that Davis just finished writing. He's going to have at least one, if not two guilds from Altamira we're going to put in there, which will be really cool.
Oh, that will be. So we're talking about Altamira. Is Trolltopia going to have another kumquat tree? Or are we going to make another attempt for that and see if we can get that one?
I may give that a shot. I had that one kumquat tree, and it lives 5 months or so, and then it died. It didn't make it.
So, I know nothing about him. I don't know the environment. I mean, is Arkansas even a suitable environment for him? I don't know. I'm not a gardener. I don't go around doing these things, but I like to see other people do it or try it.
Davis has a green thumb. He can keep anything alive, which is wonderful. I cannot.
So wait a minute. He can keep plants alive, but he kills books.
Oh yeah. Don't lend Davis a book. Absolutely, don't lend him a book if you want it back in the shape you gave it to him. No, he is brutal on books. He always been. Even when we were kids, he was folding it back over, all kinds of stuff.
So speaking of Davis, there's a question that was submitted in well in advance. It's kind of two questions, actually, 2 in 1, that Davis would appreciate. Why are gnomes the best race in CNC, and what did the gnomes do to hurt Davis?
It's funny. So gnomes are interesting because the name itself is terrible. It conjures all kinds of images, even back in the woebegone days. But now with those little garden gnomes, it's when those came out in the 80s or whatever, it's just wrecked. So the gnome is just done. But Davis, we tried to kind of fix that in Castles and Crusades. We made them all tatted out. They're all kind of little tough biker people. But Davis has a particular hatred for anything that I'm going to say non-Inzean. So my world is Arid, and Davis is Inzea. And Inzea is a absolutely brutal world of just grim.
Pain.
Just mud, pain, and death is all Inzea is. You really have to have kind of you got to have your head in a right spot to play in Davis's world. I love it. I absolutely love just the idea that you the struggle is so horrific that just dying well is a huge accomplishment in Davis's world. And gnomes, anything that's kind of cutesy,
Yeah.
and so the gnome just doesn't. It just doesn't fit.
Now it's funny in my games, the gnomes that are either PCs or especially NPCs I run, gnomes there is it. I mean, look, given their size and the way they look, they're always going to be a little bit comedic,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean they can't be psychotic and
No.
dangerous. So I actually have a NPC in our current group. His name is Jared Schmew, which is kind of and he's inspired by Jim Ward. It's an anagram of his name because
Nice.
Jim in this game that I played with him, he had this gnome, and this gnome was psychotic. This gnome did all kinds of crazy stuff. Jim is fascinating to see him play. Is completely opposite of the way he runs the game. Like he's very serious and straightforward and methodical and beats you up if you're too chaotic. Oh, as a player, he is a complete chaos muppet, and that character was just so over the top. Like, and then the group that I'm running played with him, and when they saw him, they're like, "Oh my god, that's great!" And it was like, to honor him, but the he's totally psychotic and trying to wanting to kill things and make money, and it's just great. And to me, how my gnomes are. They are serious. They're not to be trifled with. You may
Yeah.
want to make fun of them, and of course we also have a gnome illusionist who is completely obnoxious and full of himself. I would love to see my friend play that gnome at your table because I think it'd be hilarious. But
Good illusions is actually a lot of fun. I think at the end of the day that the gnome suffers from the nomenclature. It's just a terrible name.
there's actually this book they've had it at this store twice. The first time it was under glass and I didn't want to bother them to see it. Is the Book of Gnomes, and it's just like an old book. I think I mentioned this to you. You said that you guys might have had it. And this is like and next time I went in there, it's Books by the Pound up in Cersei.
Yeah.
And it's all these illustrations of different gnomes and stuff, and it that's not doing gnomes any favors.
No, I know exactly what book you're talking about.
And I kind of wanted to buy it, but man, it was.
Is it formatted like this book here?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It's part of it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. And
It doesn't do anything, and I kind of want to get it and like somehow get it to Davis, but it had such a heavy like mildew smell to it. Like,
yeah, so it's been sitting somewhere away.
It's been sitting somewhere it shouldn't have been, and I'm like, yeah. I think that's why they finally took it out of the collector's case because it was ruining all the other books. But
I think that in mythology, in Celtic mythology, I think gnomes are actually very mischievous and mean and borderline evil creatures. I don't think they're
I like them like that.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. The only gnome I've ever played that I really liked was William Crowbill. He carried a military pick, a Crowbill. He was very brutal in combat. He was a little rotund, but his whole deal was he spit tobacco all the time. And he spit tobacco so much that it had stained his chin and cheek yellow. So I described him as this really kind of disgusting person that loved to kill things. But yet gnomes and Davis just don't get along.
Yeah. Considering in the Monstrous Armory book, all the there's some anti-gnome killing devices in there. Like, yeah, we see where Davis had his most fun. We do have a question from Moonglum Red Archer. I apologize if I butchered that. Also, curious of the troll if the trolls still run any AD&D stuff in their CNC games and or other house rules or by the book.
We rarely run any game by the book. It is, and AD&D would be the most, the perfect poster child of that. We hybrided AD&D up 16 ways of Sunday, and loved every minute of it. I'm an AD&D hound. I've really played two role-playing games religiously, and that's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and Castles and Crusades, with a huge honorable mention to Gamma World, big Gamma World nut. We just didn't play it that much in the day. It just wasn't fantasy. But so we hybrid just about any game that opens at the table that we've played. We start hybriding. Play AD&D. We don't often. I think the last time we did was we were at Mac's house a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and Todd was running it because I think Todd ran it. Maybe it's Chris because they're big AD&D house. But the thing about AD&D and Castles and Crusades, it's so easy. Really, it's so easy to merge those two games. It's crazy. It's the armor class is really the only thing different.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, in the Wilderness and Dungeoneer Survival Guide, the attribute checks were reversed. You had to roll.
Yeah, you had to roll under.
Yeah, under. Yeah, however it was.
You had to roll under your attribute, and
it was. Yeah, it was just an interesting system, whatever. But that was optional as well. But I'm still a huge AD&D hound. I mean, I'm absolutely.
It's actually funny because once in a while there will be a disagreement over a spell description in CNC, and because they are a little more refined and streamlined. That's what I'm looking for too. Than the original AD&D. So there's an argument. I'll go back to the AD&D, like the original. It's kind of like going back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and reading the old, and like, okay, so it gives a little clarification on like Fireball or whatever, and like, okay, in this niche situation they wrote about this, that you can't do this, what you're doing. So since I'm going to assume the guys at TSR knew better than I did, that's what I'm going with.
It's funny you should say that because I was working on Codex Infernum the other day. I was going through somehow some experience points got changed, and I was going to go through, and one of the things I wanted to add, a lot of the demons and devils that I didn't require magic weapons to hit. I just didn't put it in there, but they should. So I was going back through, and then I was kind of going through each monster, and I got to the succubus, and in the CNC version, the succubus does not need a magic weapon. You don't need a magic weapon. Hit it. And I thought, well, that's odd. That's not right. So I went right over to this shelf behind me, and I got my AD&D monster manual out. Do I need? What is the ruling here? What did Gary say? What was done? And you didn't. You could hit a succubus with any weapon. So that's the way it is in the Codex Infernum. So it stays. So Gary has spoken. So it goes.
Gary's still teaching us. Even though it's gone, I love that. It's the body of work right there.
But you said it perfectly. That's like the Eldritch Scrolls. I don't know, so I'm going back to the Eldritch Scrolls.
Yep.
The wisdom of the ancients.
Yeah, and his legacy and lessons it lives on in his work, and people like you. I mean, you knew him well, and that's the best thing that can be done to keep his memory alive.
Yeah,
I think you'd be. Well, I'm not gonna say because I didn't know him personally, but I'd hope he'd be happy that we still hold him in such high regard.
At his core, he was a gamer. He loved the game. I mean, the guy loved the game, any kind of game. He didn't really care. And if he saw the amount of love and attention that his works are getting now, especially with the GFW and the Castle Zaggy material, he would be just tickled pink.
Okay, so we're almost at the full 1 hour mark. I figured you want to make this a 1 hour increment, considering that you have so much to do on your plate. But I do want to touch on a little bit. How is the new factory going to change publishing for you and potentially for others?
It's going to have a monstrous impact on Troller Games. It's going to increase. We're hoping it's up in about 90 days. Everything's kind of been approved. We're hoping construction begins next week, clearing the land and all that crap. And like you mentioned earlier, hopefully we're through the rainy season and we're into some kind of a dry spell so that everything kind of dries out. But once we move into it, we're going to have enough room where we can actually really not have to. So right now we have to do so much moving stuff to get to stuff because we're so crowded.
I've had that experience in my shop.
Yeah, and it's just, you know how it is. I mean, today I think I moved the same stack of 40 boxes 3 times, and the third time I was like, okay, this is not.
Something has to change, or I quit.
Yeah.
I can't quit, but I quit.
The time wasting is absurd, and right now our warehousing is about 1.5 miles or so from the mailroom.
Yeah.
And last week I remember Dakota ran out of some stuff, so he made himself a list and he went down there and he got it all, and he came back, and then he discovered he was out of something else. He had to go back down there,
Ah,
and it's that's an hour out of your day just sitting at stoplights. So
I don't, and also I don't even want to think about what having, because I know it's like in a storage unit type place,
yeah,
and I don't want to think about how much that is a month eating into.
it's not cheap.
It's not cheap because
not,
maybe you're lucky and you got a good deal way back in the day. I mean, it's not ideal, but
no, it's not. No,
storage
it's
is
not good.
expensive.
And
Oh,
it's worse because sometimes we can use a pallet jack to get the stuff in, but frequently we have to do it by hand.
yeah.
Dakota had to move 2,000 boxes for the starter kit the other day by hand. I was out of town. Todd was out of town. And he had to move them all. And all of that ends because we will now have a
So,
loading dock. Do it.
when he came on board officially, did you make him sign a disclaimer that Total Games and I personally, Steven Chenault, cannot be held responsible for back issues down the line?
I tell everybody when they come on board, now listen, you think this sounds like this super romantic job. There's a lot of really boring mind stuff and moving boxes. Now, I actually kind of like organizing spaces, so I don't mind getting down in there and organizing a little bit. But in Arkansas in July,
Yeah, no,
it's gonna be harder. But
no.
yeah, so we're gonna get a loading dock. That's the first thing. That's going to save us a mountain of time, loading, unloading, taking care of all that, getting ready for conventions, all of that. I mean, easily 3 or 4 hours a week probably just will be saved. But the really cool part is the printing side. That's just the warehouse, the printing side of things. We are elevating from the machine we have now, which it's about a $10,000 machine, to one that's much, much larger. It's 14 feet long. It's a commercial.
Ooh.
It's a huge commercial digital printing machine. It'll, from looking at its rate of speed, it will double the rate of speed of the print jobs, which is fantastic. The trays are gigantic. So right now we have to refill the trays constantly. Well, you won't have to now. It's got 7 huge trays, fill them all up. We can do whole
Walk
print
away.
runs. Yeah, so that alone is going to save. And the way I laid out the print shop, or the shop itself, uh, that room, the print machine will be in its own air conditioned room, no windows. Be really nice, but there'll be a door in there, so when he's finished printing whatever, he can walk through the door and into the binding room, close the door, because that binder puts off a ton of dust. And that dust gets inside the printing machines, causes issues, blah blah blah. So that will stop, and then he'll be able to walk that stuff into the warehouse and ship it, almost immediately. So for us, increased efficiency, increased speed, increased quality, all just through the roof. So it's fantastic.
And you're wanting to bring in? Will you be able to start bringing in with this move, doing hardcovers in house?
Not yet, but that's definitely. So we bought enough land to really grow into. I mean, we've got.
Yeah.
It's the most Arkansas thing ever, Sparky. You'll appreciate it, because when on the deed it says 5 acres or thereabouts. I thought that
sounds about right.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's the best thing ever. But yeah, so the idea is to get us. Dakota and I are talking about this today. We're going to get everything set up, the print shop set up, everything running, and the facility running. Now, I've already investigated, and to go to hardcovers, I know what machinery I need, and it's 5 pieces of equipment that I'm going to need. It's going to have a big footprint. So once we're up and running, and we're going to start taking outsourced jobs probably by next week, because we'll have the machine here, and we'll have the printer long before the new facilities set up. So we'll start doing outsourced jobs soon. But once we're in the new facilities, everything's set up, and I'm super, super comfortable with. Okay, we've got this squared. And then Dakota and I are going to hop on an airplane flying to Georgia. That's where the equipment's made. And we're going to sit down with Julie, I think is her name, Jennifer. Jennifer's my sales rep out there, and have her just walk us through what this entails. And if it looks like it's doable, if it looks like we can manage this, then we'll have another building built, and bring this equipment, buy this equipment, bring it over.
Because it's fascinating to me, especially since all the tariff stuff and everything.
Right.
There's that. The small publishers who either want to get away from printing in China, or who would like the ability to print. And it's not just even gaming. In the specialty aviation circles, the specialty press for those, there's a lot of guys, people out there, like there's a demand for their product, but getting them printed in a reasonable economic way is just they're lost. They don't know what to do. And it's funny.
Go ahead.
And it's funny, some of the groups and I'm in who are there. There's a lot of people watching keenly TLG and what they're doing, what you're doing with this building, because it's like they might be our salvation. And it is fun. You might have to beat people off with a stick.
We certainly win. We're taking jobs as low as $50. I mean, that's not going to slow us down. And that's one of the things, because I've been doing this for a while, and I know how tough it can be, especially on new publishers, or those that are kind of marginal, trying to make it a little bit more. We're gonna keep this as economical as humanly possible. And Arkansas is a great place to do that. It's a great place to do business. Our taxes are horribly high.
Yes, no way.
You can't live here. Nobody can live here.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of industry coming in right now, but they're just crazy. I don't know why they're coming. They're misguided. They have consultants who are overpaid and just have, pudding for brains. I don't know what's wrong with them. Don't come here.
But yeah, so that makes it easier too. So I think that by probably within a week or so, it's going to be 2 weeks. However, everything's 2 weeks around here. And we should have the equipment up and running. But by end of summer, into September, the warehouse should be done, the print shop, and everything's squared away where we've got a really nice, I think we can really offer the community and even beyond the gaming community. We don't care. The way I've got it laid out, hopefully soon. I know she's working on it now. Monica is our webmaster, and she's working on getting us an online price calculator. So one of your buddies from the aviation industry can go in there, enter in, I want this size book, I want you to be coded, blah, 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 this will be the price. And they don't have to email and wait and, figure all this stuff out.
So what you're saying, if I want to have my manifesto printed, Troll War Games can do it.
Absolutely. We will print manifestos.
So you know what? This all sounds great. I think it's going to work out really well, unless Jeremy's fear comes true that somebody finds the factory and burns it down.
He's constantly saying that. It's cracking me up. I'm like, there's no way we're going to be able to.
I don't think he understands Arkansas. It's like, where I live, I have a hard time even getting packages delivered to my house. I'm like a quarter mile off the highway, but I'm at the nexus of the universe, and like stuff either goes down to my neighbors or it goes. It's crazy. So most of my stuff I have shipped to my girlfriend who lives like 3 miles down the road. She's out on the highway.
Yeah.
Of course, one time they delivered one of her packages to the Dollar General. I don't know why, but so I don't give my address out very much, but I've joked. I'm like, if anybody wanted to find me, all they have to do is go to the little rural post office and ask the little church ladies that run. I'm like, do you know so-and-so? Oh yeah, he lives down there. There's no hiding in this state, because the very trusting, I don't know if it's true for the rest of the state, but it's like the little old church lady. It's like a mafia that runs all these post offices up here.
Yes.
Yeah, and they all know each other. They all go to the same church, and it's like 6 or 7 of these different post offices. And it's like, you can't get away from them.
And there's not going to be.
They know everything about you, and they've probably told everybody at church about so and so that gets these weird devil books. It's
everyone we talk to in BB is like, they're really fascinated with what we're doing. They're super excited that we're bringing this factory to their community, but it's weird enough that they're like, okay, what are you doing? So we get a lot of great feedback. I mean, and the people have been insanely friendly, and we're going to attempt to be active with the Chamber of Commerce and all these things. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna hide Troll War Games from
No, you don't. No. And BB's a nice little town. It's actually funny when we had the great exodus from Texas 20-something years ago. It was like my dad's driving this giant U-Haul truck that he should not have been driving, probably, because he hit more curbs than I can remember, and everything was just whatever. And we were falling behind him in Oldsmobile, but we stopped there in BB because I remember stopping there. There's the train tracks, and then I later dated somebody from there, and it's a nice little town.
It's a nice town, and it's growing pretty well. Hey, I think Erodesium's coming. The industry's going to build factories everywhere, so it's all going to be very ugly and smelly. No residential area will be safe. People better stay away for your own health.
Well, on that note, since we're at 1 hour and 4 minutes, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
Just go over and check out the Backer Kit campaign. You may be tickled by it. Check that thing out. See what's there that you like. And I'm hoping tomorrow no later than Monday, I'll put a nice kind of state of the troll out to let everybody know where we are on the building and what is happening. We actually had, after a permit hell, we've got movement at long last. I got this afternoon, I got texted the plans that we've kind of mapped out and everything.
Sweet.
So look in the next few days for a state of the troll for me, and we'll bring it up to speed. And thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
I enjoy it. We need to do this in sometime. Maybe talk about Arid, or I don't know, Dr. Pepper, or aliens. We
Now you're
aliens. The alien stream has not happened yet.
Yes,
and,
it's going to.
Or what we really need to do is we just need to pack up, go out to Roswell, and just have a live stream at in Tatum.
Yes.
And
Tatum,
just
New
talk about
Mexico.
aliens. Actually, real quick, it's funny. My better half, she's from Nevada, and from Prompt, and their local museum has acquired a guard shack that guarded the entrance to Area 51 for their museum,
Awesome.
their original museum. I'm like, it show that they put on a lowboy trailer and they're hauling it off. I'm like, I want to steal that.
That is awesome.
We'll get that for Steven. Put it out there at the front gate of the new Troll Lord factory.
That would be cool.
Now, somebody in chat suggested that we take a trip to Uranus, Missouri, to the fudge factory there, because the judge just right themselves. They have a whole series of AI alien fudge commercials here lately.
Oh.
So yeah, on that note, I want to thank everybody for watching, and this is going to be going on YouTube, and I will send the link to Grace so she can put it out.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to thank you again for
thanks for
giving us the little time you have.
I appreciate it.
And until we do this again, y'all have a great night, and get this Kickstarter